Right off the bat, a update from Main Street and their executive director, Mr. Marty Walsh. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mayor and Council, Administrator Trout. I'm just giving you a quick update on our quarter May, June, July of 2012. Lots of things going on. We have several business openings in June or May. We saw the opening of Market 124, which would involve the purchase of a large, formerly vacant building in 124 in North Delaware. That's kitty corner from the post office. That was a project that worked with Main Street through the incentive loan program and is bringing in multiple businesses from outside the Mason City area. They work in there. They could potentially, most of them said, could potentially step into a full business of their own. So it's almost a retail incubator in there, which has been fantastic and has greatly increased pedestrian traffic on the north half of downtown. This Wold has been a fantastic new addition to the downtown. Another expansion was the Quarry, expanding to the former Frank space, which again took up a large amount of vacant storefront and has allowed them some more flexibility in utilizing the plaza pedestrian space. In June, we began to spearhead a project that we're still working on with the Federal Avenue banner project that would add some color to the streetscape. This was a program that had been considered prior during the streetscape planning sessions, but was not enacted, and so a group came forward and we're looking at enacting that for the entire streetscape in the near future, hopefully. We also saw some new events come up, just the Party on the Plaza, which was a great promotion that involved many of the businesses on the plaza taking a more direct role. We kicked off our Friday Night Live series in June, and our June and July events have been two of our most successful events ever. Probably a little something to do with a few upsides to the lack of rain we've been having, but we'll take it. We also expanded our downtown market. We also are now doing a Thursday market, and we're continuing to promote that. In July, some exciting news of another business we've been working with long-term, Mason City Brewing, signed a lease on a property at 28 East State Street, the lumber clothing building, currently occupied by Dynamic Designs Interior Design, and they're going to occupy only half the building as they've kind of changed their business model slightly, and Mason City Brewing will occupy the east half. We find that this is a great addition to downtown potentially because it operates on the edge of what we currently have, but also expands the services and amenities that we offer downtown. We are currently working on some future events. The Great Bear City Festival, which includes the Art Crawl and John Dillinger Bank Robbery reenactment, will occur on September 22nd. Also working on an Architectural Heritage Weekend and a Cheers and Beers Beer Festival to kind of complement our Val and Wine event in the spring, with another event in the fall to invite some local breweries down. Should diversify our event portfolio to attract people into the downtown. A few statistics I'll add, and then I'll get to what I know a few of you have a lot of questions on the facade program, but we recently received our annual update from Main Street, Iowa. We had an annual review, which we were approved and continue to be a certified Main Street program, but they also gave us some fascinating statistics since the year our Main Street district was established in 2004. We've had 53 net business starts, expansions, and relocations. 155 full-time equivalent jobs that have been created net, 63 building renovations and rehabilitations, 19 buildings sold. In total, private investment since 2004 been $25,359,324. That's private investment. That is only the private portion of any project. If a project received a portion of public funding, that's not in there. If it was entirely public funded, state, city, federal dollars, that's not in there. That is the money that private individuals have put into and what they see as the success of downtown business district. And we think that just speaks volumes for what our individuals see here, our community sees here. We've had over 23,839 volunteer hours also. And I want to throw in that those private dollars, those don't include if somebody needs some preventative maintenance or a new coat of paint. So that's a conservative estimate that definitely underestimates what people put in. On the facade side, we are currently working with the second round of adjustments, which the State Historic Preservation Office. We submitted our initial designs from Bergman and Graham. They had commentary as they were expected to have, and we're just kind of working through those. Unfortunately, there's not a solid timeline there, but we do expect within 2 to 3 weeks of them approving those plans, we will be able to start construction, and these are all minor details that we're working out now. So that's essentially it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh. Council, do you have any questions or comments for the director? Mr. Hickey.
Good job. Currently, I know businesses are continuing moving in. How many empty buildings are in the downtown area?
Off the top of my head, it's only, if you're talking retail space, it's only 5 or 6. I don't have the most up-to-date information from Southbridge Mall, and we do count that as part of our development. But there are very few that are available. If you count second story space, and the rents are trending upwards, which means it will be valuable and worthwhile, that I expect in the next few years we will see some people developing their upper stories that maybe have been vacant for a long time. But currently, move-in ready, first floor retail space, I'd say 5 to 6.
Can you compare that to a couple of years ago? What was available?
Dozens. Recently, I did a little, not back the envelope survey, but walking survey. And since I began, which is only about 18 months ago, 11 spaces within a block and a half of the intersection of 2nd and Federal were vacant and are now full.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of synergy. Keep up the good work.
There is always.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. Mr. Kuhn, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh, for your update. I appreciate all the information. When you're talking about the 53 net businesses and all the private funds being invested, I think it's important for the community to know, because from time to time, there might be business closing and that perception out there that people are struggling downtown, just the fact that business is a risk. But I think the fact that your numbers speak to the facts that there is quite an increase in the net growth. My office is not technically in the downtown area, but just a couple blocks east, and I face State Street, and I see people constantly, 5 days a week during the business week, of people walking around, spending their money, and they're all coming from the downtown area. So I think you guys are doing a great job, and hope you keep up the great work. My question is about the facade project, and you have a tentative date for bids and construction and things you could throw out for public information?
Again, we can't release anything until SHPO has given us full approval. And I would say from my experience that we're looking at about 2 to 3 weeks after, but we do have the bid documents essentially prepared, barring any major changes that they enforce, to be ready to go as soon as they say we're good to go. And additionally, we've also took the approach of creating a state ID number for each individual building. So if there were 1 or 2 buildings that were holding up the project because of some specific historic aspects, we could theoretically bid out those remainder projects. So we've built in that flexibility. We don't see ourselves at that point right now, though.
So fall.
Yeah, and it could be that we submit tomorrow and they come back and say you're good to go, or it could be, well, we still have these more problems. We will be sure to be plenty public about when we are ready to go on that.
And I would just say, and I know your group's on top of it, but much like the South Federal sanitary sewer project that we just completed, I think a plan as far as communication with the business owners is absolutely key, and obviously it's much less invasive than the streetscape project, but would just encourage that, and I'm sure you guys are on top of that.
Yeah, we definitely learned the streetscape project, and one of the things that our contractors will have to show in their bid documents is how they plan on mitigating impact to business, whether that's doing the scaffolding you might see in a larger city over doors, or something as simple as giving construction worker t-shirts that say, ask me how to get whatever, we'll figure it out. That's something they are going to be required to work with us on to show, yes, we're partners in this, we're not just employees.
Well, good job. I think a lot of your work goes to the fact that we're seeing some surpluses in both local option sales tax and hotel motel tax, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kuhn. Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. We appreciate it. Thank your board. Thank you, all your volunteers.
Thank you all very much.